I could always count on him to bring me something for Valentine's Day, even though we didn't date. I could always count on him to like recognize my birthday. I could always count on him to do those things, but he never was bold enough to ask me out.
So
There's a
you
plan.
still kind of held the torch for him during that time, even
I
though he was.
did.
2, 1, 0. All engine.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to episode 86 of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And hey, we're alive. We're still alive. We're still here.
Yeah, still sheltering in place. All our family is intact. No one's hurt anyone.
Not yet. Not yet. Though the family's
actually,
still upset with me.
No, I was gonna say I feel like they've turned a corner. They're not as antsy as they were in the beginning. Our daughter's not as angry as she was. Neither one of them actually are as angry as they were before. So it's kind of like they settled into a groove, if you will. And even it was funny earlier today, our son, he was like, "Today's Monday." I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, shoot. We didn't even play our game yesterday." We've been playing games on Sunday. So I says, "Well, I was working. You all were having fun up in the front room. I felt like I was the bad little kid because Kiana comes to the door. And I thought she was going to ask, "Oh, do you need anything?" She starts to shut the door. He said, "Close the door." I was like, "For real? Like that?" She's like, "Yep." And we kind of started laughing. I was like, "Dang, I'm not on punishment or timeout." So, Mom, I think he's just trying to help you. But you guys were watching, what was it, Earth movie or something?
Oh, it was one of those nature shows on Netflix.
Yeah, everybody was all in it. I heard him asking questions, and I kept, "I want to know. I want to know. What is it? What is it?"
It's like, get in there and do your homework.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Hey, you're 3 weeks out from actually completing this.
I am 3
If you go
weeks.
back, and I can't remember what number the podcast was, but there was a podcast we had called, in the earlier days, it was back in 2018, I believe. It says, if
you're still breathing,
Yep.
it's your season.
If you're still breathing, it's your season.
I think about that a lot because I started school in October 2018. So, excuse me. I always think about that, especially now when we're getting ready to, I say we, yeah, because we are getting ready to
yes,
be
we
finished.
are. As much help as I should say, as
Okay,
many
I
times
was
you've held
about
me
to say,
hostage.
don't act like you've been in here writing my papers.
No, not writing them.
Oh, you've been telling me what to say, and I've been writing them?
ghostwriting.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah, change the subject, sir.
So we mentioned that one of the previous episodes, but what we want to do is let people know that there are a lot of episodes. Obviously, there's 86. So feel free to go to Apple Podcasts and listen to either anything in the inventory or most recent ones, but give us a rating. Get out there. That raises the visibility of the podcast so we can actually share the conversations with more and more people.
Yeah. I actually got a message from someone. She was like, "I don't know where I've been for the last almost 2 years, but I'm kind of late to the game, about the podcast. Just love it." And I was like, "Well, thank you." So it's fun. We've been having a good time.
Well, it's a great time, actually. And so we hope you're enjoying yourselves. So please definitely go and rate us on Apple Podcasts. But we also ask that you go to our website and feel free to get any of the merch that you can find there. There's a t-shirt. There's another affirmation tool. There's a free assessment that we're doing right now during this coronavirus season. But then there's also a very free marriage audit that's on the front page. It's something, just freebie that we're giving out for everybody to use. You have to know where to begin in order to assess yourself and then kind of figure out how to get there. Think of it as your own personal GPS system that we're providing for everyone.
Yeah. Some people have gotten a little zealous about it. I felt like he needed to do this better. It's like, yeah, no, that's not it. So it's fun though.
So true. But it's one of those things where we want you to thoroughly enjoy what you're doing in your relationship. And if we could ever be of assistance to you in the process, please just let us know. So, with that said, this is our COVID couple series. We are interviewing a variety of couples across the United States. And this week, we actually have
Derrick and Aisha Taylor.
And I'm not going to go into the introduction for them because we're going to do it in the actual interview itself. But they're the latest installment when it comes to our COVID couples. So without further ado,
here we go.
Good morning. I want to welcome you both to the Married into Crazy podcast. As my wife beats up my chair because she wants me to move over so she can be on the screen.
He's taking up all of the screen. I'm like, I have a little sliver, and I'm like, can I get in here? Scoot over.
I thought she just wanted to be close.
So today we actually, in our COVID couple series, we like to talk to different couples across the United States, kind of get a feel for your journey, because every journey is different. But I think that we have something to learn from each and every other couple out there. So with that said, today we have Derrick and Aisha Taylor, and go ahead, say hi.
Hi.
And so without me having to do an intro for you, what I love to do is have you kind of tell us, who you are, what you do, where you live, that kind of thing.
I'll let my wife go first.
You just want to copy. He wants to copy what I do, who I am. So I'm Aisha Taylor. I am Derrick's wife of 21 years. And I am a full-time OBGYN, amongst other things. And I'm a mom of 3 plus a fur baby, Bailey.
I think it's funny how she said, I got 3 kids and a fur baby, but she only gave the name of the fur baby. So.
I know, because I like him the best.
Unconditional love. Man.
Okay, well then I'll just tell you I have an 18-year-old Olivia, Eva, who's 16, and 10-year-old Samuel. Does that make it better?
Okay, there we go. And how about you, sir?
My name's Derrick. I work in healthcare just like my wife. I'm an x-ray tech and specialize in cardiology. So we do interventional cardiology procedures. Same with my wife. My wife and I have 3 kids. And right now, I like to just study the Bible right now. And I'd like to one day go back and get a master's in marriage counseling, family marriage counseling.
Nice.
So that would be my second career.
Your second career?
Yes.
No, your second career is dad. And then I think you're talking about your third career.
Third career, yes.
So you said other things, Aisha. You mentioned other things. But I've been following you on Facebook. So I think you got a full-blown, you're a business owner now too, right?
I am. So I was really trying to figure out a way to kind of pay down some debt without doctoring more. So I didn't really want to take time away from my family, but I really wanted to kind of diversify our income and develop another stream of income. So I became a skincare consultant for a company, and then I started using the products, and I loved the products because I didn't have to wear makeup anymore. And then from that, it kind of stumbled into becoming an attraction marketing mentor. And so that's kind of where I am now. I'm doing my mommy job, my doctor job, and my side businesses.
All right, that's awesome.
That's what I'm talking about.
Very busy, very busy.
But it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, that's good. As long as you enjoy it, that's always the good part.
It's really like connected me to a lot of people who I would have never come in contact with, and just kind of opened my network just outside of medicine. And just really, just across the world. Like I have friends in Ireland, like just people I would have never connected with. We've never met in person, but we are very close online. So the online space is powerful.
Oh, very much so. And I think we're learning that right now in this COVID season that we're in, that the online space is now providing connection. Before we were so afraid that it was distancing our kids. The social distancing isn't new, right? We have 4 or 5 kids walking next to each other and everybody's got their face buried in their phones. So they've socially distanced because of the phones, and now it's odd that tables have turned and we're using that same technology to connect families and friends.
Right. That is so true.
So interestingly enough, so you said 21 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So
when did you guys meet?
We met in a junior high school initially.
In 7th grade.
So you've been junior high, high school? She said no.
Yeah, she said
I
no,
said
no, no,
we
no.
met in the 7th grade. I didn't say we dated in the 7th grade.
Run, I was not ready for it. I was
Yeah,
not ready.
no.
I was a baby. I wasn't into the dating thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Very shy, very shy.
so you went to junior high together,
Yeah.
and then did you all go to high school together also?
Yes,
Or
we did. We went to high school together. So we went to junior high together. I came to a school he was already attending kind of partway through. I went from a private school setting to a public school setting, and I saw him and I was like, that's going to be my husband. I looked very different then. So he really wasn't interested in me because I looked very different than I do now in the 7th grade.
Yeah,
So-
junior high school was like what?
Glasses,
glasses,
braces.
different things. She was probably like 90 pounds at
I
the time.
had fuzzy bangs, and I wasn't his cup of tea then. But
ah,
funny how things change.
Well, I didn't even have a cup of tea. I was just walking around school. At that age, I think you're looking and you're just trying to find out who you are.
mhm.
And I didn't find out that I was attracted to her until like about the second year.
Until
of
the
high
braces came off. Let's be real.
Oh,
It was about the second semester of 10th grade. Yeah, that's when I started saying, okay, we started to talk more and became friends. And I was like, well, I think I like her, but I think we're better friends. So never pursued it, but always was here.
Always here. Always here.
I was always right there.
I could always count on him to bring me something for Valentine's Day, even though we didn't date. I could always count on him to like recognize my birthday. I could always count on him to do those things, but he never was bold enough to ask me out.
so
It was a
you
plan.
still kind of held the torch for him during that time, even though
I
he was.
I did. We did go to junior prom together. He did ask me. Well, so the winter balls were kind of big at our school. So he would always say he's not going to come. And I would go with my girlfriends and then he would show up. And then I'm like, oh, there he is. And so we kind of connected that way. But then for junior prom, he actually asked me to go. So I was a junior prom date.
Ah,
Okay, junior but not senior.
No.
The senior ball
Things
was
got a little sticky.
Yeah, the senior ball is like, that's when you really want to go out and you want to try and cement a relationship. And I just felt like it wasn't going in that direction. So I said, this is what it is.
So we went with other people.
so how did y'all come back to each other?
So I was mad because he went with somebody else. And I was like, I'm not talking to him anymore. This is done. We graduated and I went my way, he went his way, but I never kind of like forgot about him, right? And so I went my direction and I would always talk to my roommate, my college roommate about him, my freshman roommate. And then one day I told her, I was like, who I had a dream about? She's like, let me guess. And she said, Derrick? And I said, yeah. She's like, you should call him. I'm like, really? And I still remembered his phone number. So I called him. And we connected that way. And I hightailed it from San Jose back to Oakland and we went on a date.
Wow.
Oh, so you were still
I
relatively local.
asked him out because I was tired of waiting.
Oh, let it be known.
Yeah. I told you I wasn't as forward. It just I was always a guy that played it the background way. I wanted to become friends first. I wanted to make sure that you like me because the rejection thing for men, right? It's a tough one. So if we were friends, then I could really see what's going on and feel you out. And that's kind of how it happened. I just had the friend thing for a little too long.
A little too long.
I say, but you could tell she was feeling you for a very long time. I understand that maybe the first year, I'll give you that one. I don't know.
I mean, I had to spell it out. I had to ask him out like, look, all right, this is it. It's now or never.
It was high school and, you're on a football team, you're playing baseball and there's different things. And people are dating other people at the time. So
Not excuses.
you're just being friends, right? Really, I was afraid to ask her out. But at the same time, we had a really, really good friendship.
We had a good friendship. Like I could
we
always
would
rely
talk
on him.
probably 5 nights, if not every day a week.
Yeah.
And it was just really good friends. And we would talk about different things. And I thought if we crossed that line, it might ruin it.
Well, that's pretty smart. I mean, but it sounds to me like everybody else looking in, if you had that vote senior year, they'd probably been like, okay, most likely to get married, them two.
I mean, everyone thought we were dating. Everyone knew that they said, "Oh, that's Derrick Taylor's girl," even though he never asked me out. I was kind of like off limits from somebody who never dated me, but everyone kind of just put us together and said they're together, even though we really weren't.
Okay, so freshman year came back together, and
Yeah.
so Aisha, you were going to San Jose State?
Yeah, I was going to San Jose State, and he started visiting me there, and then he decided to move to Alabama.
Yeah, I did JC at Laney.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And then went to college. One of my friends from high school played football with. He said, "You need to come out here, man. We're having fun." I didn't want to go. I actually had sent my application in late on purpose because I just didn't want to leave. And I was having fun. I was with her, and just life was going. And I got accepted anyway. So I'm on the plane with my mom, and I'm getting ready I'm crying as Southwest is pulling out from the gate. She's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I don't want to go." And that was the end of it. So I was there for 3 years, but we did date.
Yeah, we
The
did.
first year she came to visit me.
Yeah, we dated.
It was great. It was long distance, and then
And then it wasn't great.
I couldn't handle it because the time changed, right? So I think it was the second year. She's studying biology.
Well,
so
let's
she's
just clarify for a second.
Come on, bring it.
I was a biology major, and Derrick did not believe that someone could possibly spend as much time as I spent in the library. So he decided that clearly I must be dating someone else. We had to go our separate ways.
But I was mature enough to say it. I said, "You know what? I'm calling you and I can't talk to you. You're not available. I need to talk to you. I want to talk to you. And you're just married to this library thing. So I think we should just break it off for right now."
Derrick, she waited 5 years for you to ask her out.
I gave her the summer of her life.
Somebody say something, please. Can I get an amen?
Listen, I gave her the summer of her life.
I'm like, really?
Okay. Let me try and level the field here.
Yeah, it was rough right now.
Who said "I love you" first?
That's 21, over 20. That's almost like 26 years ago.
I mean, that's 3 babies, a dog.
I'm gonna say it was me.
I'm gonna say it was you too.
Yeah, because I really wanted it for a long time, and then when it did happen, okay. So when it did happen, I was in a relationship that I had to break off.
I wasn't gonna tell that part of it.
No, transparency. You got to be honest, right? It's real. So I was in a relationship at the time, and I said, "I cannot date you right now because I'm in a relationship." So that had to fizzle and go away. I had to say no to that relationship because I had been waiting for this for a long time. And I wanted to have that opportunity to date her and make sure that if it wasn't going to be, then let's just be done with it. I didn't have to think about it anymore. So we did date after that. So it was great. But
So wait. Where do we insert you were dating somebody else in that timeline?
that was
when I asked them out for the date.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody, but she didn't care.
I'm sorry. I said, look, I need to clear the air and get this man off my mind. And if he is not the one, then I need to just move on.
Exactly.
So I was going all in. I was not holding back. And I said, this is the situation.
It was respectful though. They had to stop. I had to stop dating and
I
started to date.
did. I said, okay, you know my number. And then he called it.
Aisha was a straight G.
Wow. I'm not mad at that.
Hey, hold on. I'm just now realizing I got worked.
Yeah, you did. But that's okay. It worked in the best way.
Yeah.
Mad.
So I was the first one to say I love you.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Well, you should have been. I'll just put that out there, but okay.
I did. I should have said it a long time ago.
So how did you both decide that you wanted to go into the life of medicine? I think it's interesting that both of you have chosen that path.
So my initial path, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then I started to do a little more research on it and figured out I didn't think that was going to work out for me. The amount of schooling and what I wanted to do was more large animal vet. So I needed to move out to a real rural area, and I'm not a country boy. So I realized that didn't work out for me. The next step was biology. And that was when I was in Alabama, and I was young and dumb and running all over the place and not being in the library. So I eventually came back home, and when I came back home, she had some friends that had gone to Foothill College that was interested in that, done some radiology tech, dental hygienist, and they had a really great program for various healthcare workers. So she gave me some paperwork, and I researched it and
I said fill it out.
And went in on my birthday and had a talk with a counselor, and that was the end of it. Yeah, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, was to come back home and have her help me out with a focus, and got it on track. And it's been history since then. Got a job in healthcare while I was in school, and really got to see what I was going to be doing and exposed to a lot. And I think I've always been in that space of being a servant and service and giving, and that was just right up my alley.
Nice. How about you, Aisha? What made you decide did you know when you became a biology major that you were going to go into a life of medicine?
Yeah, I did. I've kind of always wanted to be a doctor. I mean, I really didn't know. I mean, I grew up in urban East Oakland, like the Lower Bottom, 80th and B. So I knew I wanted to be like in the medical field, but I didn't really know what that meant. I found some nursing books in the garage, and my mom was like a nursing major, but then went into real estate. So I would kind of look at those books, but I really didn't know what that meant. So I kind of had to pave my own way, and I had to figure out what this interest was. And so when I went to San Jose State, I was into the biology program, but I really didn't know where I was going with it. And then I had an awesome mentor who kind of really just framed it for me and just kind of wrapped it all together to kind of put me on the pre-medical path. And then after that, I was on my way.
That's definitely fine.
Yeah.
That's nice. So 21 years. In the 21 years, it's been our experience. So that we've been married 23, that there's been an evolution of self and relationship.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'd be curious to hear both of your takes on this. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. With that evolution, what do you think that your greatest amount of evolving took place?
When or where?
What specifically? How do you think you've evolved best from junior high Derrick to Derrick, the husband and father now?
That's a big one, and that's many phases, right? Because there's a phase of being married first and taking that on, being responsible. I can tell you the first time that I figured out that we were two became one, I had a car accident, and my wife said to me, "Do you realize that affects me also? Our insurance goes up, not just yours." Mm-hmm. And it was like, whoa, okay, this is real. We're like, wow, we in this together. And that was my first really punch of, okay, what you do affects your spouse.
Right.
So that it's many phases. I think becoming a father, it was another phase. My wife going to medical school and realizing, okay, I'm going to be the provider and she's just going to be in school. I've got to figure this out. And having a child and being a relationship, people think 50-50 or 60-40. At that point, sometimes it was 90-10, where my wife just had to go and study and be gone for 16 hours a day, and it was just me and the kids. So there's so many different phases where you realize you gotta step up, you gotta grow up, mindset changes, and so it's so many phases. But I think the one thing that was significant change for me was realizing who I was and what I was called to do, and that was to serve. And reading my Bible and understanding that I have to submit to God, and my wife sees me submit to God, then my wife is able to understand where I'm coming from, and she's not just looking at me, she's looking at the God in me. So once I realized that I needed to do that, I think that was the point to where I started to see what I told my wife is our second phase of our marriage, because it's gotten so much sweeter once I realized that road. I've always reading and always in the Word, but once I said, you know what, this is it. I don't want to do anything else. I'm gonna completely submit, and then I can start to see the fruit happen.
What about you, Aisha? How do you think you've evolved over the years?
So I think I've evolved a lot of ways because we got married really young. We got married, I was 24 and he was 23. And I was not a doctor when we got married. I had just graduated from college. He proposed on the day I graduated. And so we got married 6 months later. And so I decided that maybe I wouldn't go to medical school. Maybe I would just kind of support him and let him finish school and just maybe be a wife. And then we got pregnant. And then I said, well, maybe I'll just stay home and be a mom. And so I took 4 years off. And I really had to do some self-evaluation of like, do I just want to be Derrick's mom and Derrick's, well, I'm his mom too. Wife and Olivia's mommy, or do I really want to continue to pursue this passion of medicine? And so I think at the point where I realized that Derrick said to me one day, well, whatever you want. And we had just bought a house, we had a baby, he had a great job, I didn't have to work. And so when he said, do whatever you want to do. And when I got accepted to Temple in Philadelphia, he said, all right, let's go. And we packed up and moved across the country. That was huge for me. And that's when I knew, like, this man really has my back, right? And so he quit his job. We put our house for rent and we moved. And then not only that, we had a second baby. And he didn't work. He stayed home and took care of our kids completely, like literally. All the time, did everything. I did like nothing but feed them and birth them because I was in medical school and I graduated on time, and I couldn't let having a husband and 2 children interfere with that. I mean, I was the only person out of 250 medical students who had children, and that's huge, right?
Massive. Yeah, that's incredible.
He like just took the reins and did everything so that I could study, focus, and finish on time. So I think that was one phase. And then residency wasn't any easier. I had to put in over 100 hours a week as an OBGYN resident. We did move back home to be closer to family, but then we had our third baby. And so that kind of added to the element of craziness in our household. But through all of that, he allowed me to pursue my dream and to evolve into a doctor. And he never tried to like dampen that. He's never tried to like make me feel guilty about that. And so I think that was another phase for me. And then watching his relationship with Christ just grow and develop, and for him to really submit to what I've always known to be his calling. And so I think that's a separate phase, and that's where we get into the sweet spot because we're entering a whole different aspect. Our kids are getting ready to go to college, and it's like we have this new relationship.
That's beautiful.
That's very beautiful.
I'm ready to end the podcast right there. Right? So, ladies and gentlemen, you got all the nuggets you need. Look, if you want a blueprint. But I didn't realize that you packed up and went to Temple. That is
Philadelphia with a 9-month-old baby. Yeah.
We had bought the house and I think we closed in July. It was like a 3-week close. So we closed in July, and she got accepted while we were in escrow, and we had to defer a year because we had Olivia. So then we moved. We knew we were leaving, so we left 9 months later, or 10 months later, and drove over to Philly.
And he drove and I flew, and we started our life in Philadelphia. I started school that next week and hit the ground running, and he just kind of...
I stayed at home for the first 9 months.
Stayed home.
Yeah, I had a great job and saved a ton of money, and said we're going to stay at home for as long as I can with Olivia. Awesome. And it was just like, we thought about putting her in daycare, and we just looked around. I was like, this place is new. This is Philly. I was like, I'm from Oakland. I can handle this. It was like, Philly is like another level.
But no, I think the main thing was he wanted to make sure I was comfortable. And so it was never about like, it was always about me. Like, okay, well, I will do this to make sure you're comfortable. I'll drop you off at class to make sure you're comfortable. Like, everything was about Aisha's going through this big transition. She had a baby, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure she's comfortable. And that's one thing about Derrick is he's going to always make sure I'm okay. He's going to always make sure I'm comfortable, I'm safe, I'm like know what's going on. And if my degree of comfort is okay, then he's okay. And that's one thing I can appreciate about him is that he's going to always make sure I'm all right first.
Yeah, you hadn't been in school in almost 4 years. 4 years.
Yeah.
So starting to study again and going to the first day of school, I was like, okay, this is real for her. You know, she was starting all over again.
That's wild, you know, because when you're talking and telling your story, it just seems like this recurring theme has been coming up. That we're talking to different couples, even in our lives, but you really lived Ephesians 5. You know, I mean, Ephesians 5:25 specifically, because some people like to pick up at the wrong spot. I won't say the latter part.
Yes.
You and I talked about this a while back, and
We talked about it.
you lived it, and you know, you submitted to Christ, and you, man, and the way every time she turns and looks at you, I see the way she looks at you, and
Same as the 7th grade.
That's what to say. 7th grade.
that is good. That is beautiful.
That's awesome.
You know, with everybody being sheltering in place, the kids are here all the time, and so there's never a like kid-free moment.
Right.
There's nowhere for anyone to go. So we're like, even when I'm working from home, I have to tell patients, my kids are here, so I gotta like pause with them. I have to like get them lunch or get them something or get my son something or he has a cut or whatever's going on. So sheltering in place has really, I think, shown everyone's real selves, right? This is our life. This is what's going on. And those of us with kids, they are here all the time. Like, I haven't had a kid-free moment in, 9 weeks? Like, literally. And I am used to my me time. Like, I am used to having my downtime, and there is no downtime. It's all kid time. It's
I
all
agree.
kid time.
Well, you know what's funny is that save that because that's going to be the next segment where we actually pivot a little bit to what's
Okay.
life like now.
We're reining him in. Give me 1 second.
Lovey wants all the undivided attention, so you have to act like you're.
I was trying to figure out a way to break because I know he's doing this, you know, and I was like, okay.
Thing, right? Yes, his thing.
Like I need to pull my ear or something. Like I know I'm getting the baseball sign. Like take.
Exactly. His thing. Yeah.
No, that's all good.
We were going right into a question, so I was like, okay, great, that's perfect.
Well, I was just going to kind of start to pivot a little bit. So let me ask you this. So all of that going on, and you've kind of set the stage for the life that you have now. And we talked about how each of you have evolved from your youth and to the amazing adults that you are, amazing leaders within the community that you are. With all this that's going on right now, no one has seen what we're going through in this pandemic event, right? The life of COVID. And that's why this whole series right now is called COVID Couples. So I'm curious, how has, particularly because you're both in medicine, how has this COVID season changed the way that you live your lives?
It's funny that you say that because right before this happened, we had been praying about a shift in our lives and our schedules. We live very, very busy schedules. He has a call schedule. I have a call schedule. We have kids, very active kids in sports. And so we have been praying about God showing us how to slow down, how to reprioritize, and what shifts we needed to make to spend more time together. Because, like, I miss him, right? And so it's so funny. Because when the pandemic happened, I was like, oh my God, God heard our No, but not pandemic.
Not in a bad way, but you're like, oh, okay.
He released the plague for me.
So no, not in that sense, but it allowed us to really spend more time together, and it gave us a glimpse into what we really wanted. Like, and it kind of confirmed that the things that we had been talking about and praying about, to spend more time together. And so now that we're in the house all day together, except to go to work, like we are in the house 24 hours a day with our kids unless we are on duty. And it's been really interesting, but it's been fun. It's been nice. I mean, I like a little more kid free time, but you know.
Right.
It's changed. It's changed a lot. Going from working 5 days a week, and now I'm taking probably 2 days off a week. Spending more time at home with the kids. We're doing a lot of cooking, right? So didn't realize that you could budget so well. because you're not going out to eat, you're not going out shopping. It's been eye opening, and I heard one pastor say, this is really a timeout, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the timeout is like when a coach calls timeout, everybody comes off the floor, and it gathers those main players right close to them. And there's some people on the peripheral, but those main players are right there to hear what the plan is. And I feel like we are right there, with our plan, saying, hey, this is exactly what we want to do. We want to spend more time together. Okay, check. Let's figure out how to do that. We want to spend more time with our kids. Check. Let's figure out how to do that. Right now, we can actually reduce our income and save more. Let's figure out how to do that also, and try and live those things that we've been doing over the last, 6 to 8 weeks. And so that part has changed, but it's also changed our life as far as healthcare workers, because being on the front line, I can tell you for me, I think I've been involved with probably about 4 cases, and praise God that those cases have been negative for those people and those families. But you put on all the stuff, you put on all the PPE, you're covered, you're sweating, you're hot. Yeah. But coming home, now, before we would come home and just change our clothes. You come in the house and you change your clothes. Now you're coming home and you're in the garage and you're shedding everything, and everything goes into a bag. And you're like, kids, don't touch me. I'm going straight upstairs, shower, do everything we can, and then come downstairs and then have family time. There's some times where it gets so bad where I take a shower at work before I even come home, and then I take another shower when I get home because I've walked through the hospital. Right. At one point in the beginning, I was starting to see a lot was going on at work, and then come home and see the news and starting to internalize that. And I had to put a pause on social media and pause on the media that's on the TV, because you start to ingest all of that and you start to wonder, and then your mind starts to think about these things. And it's serious, but if you're going to be on the front lines, you take it seriously and protect yourself, but you can't live in fear, or else you can't perform.
Right.
So I had to pull things in perspective. I started to worry a little bit and started to worry about blood pressure going, because I was just stressed, like, what are we doing? Like, what is this world coming to? And then you have to take a pause, like, God is in control, and I'm here to serve. This is not the plan for my life. I'm here with my wife. We're going to be able to spend more time together. This is not the end. Let's walk through this valley, and at the end, we'll be at the mountaintop. It'll be over, and it'll be fine. So it's changed a lot and put things in perspective, saying, hey, there's a lot of people out there hurting. There's a lot of people out there struggling. My wife and I have talked, and we've been donating money to some families and to some churches, and making sure some of the churches that have food programs, and making sure that we try and do what we can, since we are working and we really haven't missed too much, but we want to make sure that we are able to give.
Right. I think for me, it allowed me to see what we can do without. The things that we thought we needed, the luxuries or whatever that we thought we needed, that was a part of our everyday life and routine, I realized that we don't need those things. So when things return to normal, it's allowed me to kind of pull back and put things into perspective, and to realize how much more I need to simplify our life to get things that we desire, which is to be with each other. And it also allowed me to see that my mood dictates the house. So if whatever is going on at work, and if I'm tired or overwhelmed or afraid, like, I couldn't come home and watch that on the news, because I'm in it. And if I come home and it's playing, then my anxiety and stress level is going to go up. So I can't be present for my kids, and I can't create a safe place for them. So I had to just shut it off and leave it at the door. Like, whatever happened, I had to leave it alone, drop it, shower, and then create normalcy for them because they're not used to being in a house for 9 weeks. They're not used to missing school, missing friends. They have no social interaction. We're their only source of social interaction, and they don't want to hang with us.
Their phones.
I mean, their phones, but they miss their peers. And so we had to create some normalcy for them and some fun for them and kind of figure out ways to reconnect. Because let's be honest, our kids are teenagers. They're doing their thing. We're doing our thing. They're on their phone. And you don't realize how disconnected you become until something like this happens. And then you realize, gosh, we haven't been doing just basic stuff. And so now it's allowed us to just do basic stuff, bake in the kitchen with the kids, laugh with them, talk with them, just kind of really figure out like who they are. Because you think you know who they are until you're around them for 24/7 and you're like, all the times those teachers said that, they probably were telling the truth.
That's right. Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
One thing that you both had, like you said, about being out there on the front line and just internalizing it. I remember when it first came out. So, and Lovey, he's actually working from home. I'm still going to work. So I would come home from work and Lovey would be talking about it. And I said, oh my gosh, if you talk about this one more time, I'm gonna smack you, you know?
Right.
So I don't even know how it happened, but it like flipped to where then I started talking about it all the time. And I'm looking, you know, they have the map on the, I'm looking online, looking at the map, which states how many have died, how many have it. And I'm getting the numbers. I'm like, okay, on this day they had this many, and I'm calculating. And so he's just like, if you don't stop. And I was like, I know, okay, I'm gonna stop right now. And it was just like, just inundating me.
Right.
And I started getting all stressed out, and I'm like, okay, where's my mask? And the kids, I'm like, you can't go anywhere. You know, do you have the mask on? Did you put your gloves on? Did you touch? Who'd you touch? Are you talking? Wipe your phone down. When you come in the house, you got to do hand sanitizer. I was going crazy. And then I was listening to Travis Green, and he has a song called Be Still. And the song, Be Still and Know That I Am God. And I was just like, whoa. Okay, the Lord is telling me, girl, get off that crazy horse you are riding and just be still. Be still, because I got this. Be still and know that I am God. So that kind of helped me calm down. You know, every now and then I'll still be looking at the numbers, but not as crazy as I was before, you know.
But it's easy, like you say, to be on that crazy horse. And before you know, you're like, okay, what have I done? Let me off this thing, you know? And you're like, okay, let me put focus back in my life, because it is so easy to be there and riding along and want, like, okay, this is weird. I need to stop.
Right. Because
I also just create a sense of panic for my children. There was enough going on at work and things that we were hearing hour by hour update, meeting after meeting, and changing protocol like every hour. And I had to not create that same sense of panic. If I felt stressed, I can imagine how a child could feel out of control.
Exactly.
And so I really tried to create a normal life for them, even though they can't go outside.
When Kiana, so Kiana had got sick right before the week before the governor like kind of shut everything down. And so she was hearing, you know, about the pandemic, and she got sick. And so she started crying, and I was like, okay, we're going to go to the doctor, you know, she's coughing and she had fever. And I was like, okay, Ronna, keep cool, you know, because I'm freaking out. And I'm like, okay, I can't let her, like you said, you trying to protect her. And she says, Mom, I don't want to die. And I was like, you're not going to die? What are you talking about? You're not going to die. I'm like, oh my God, let me, she thinks she's going to die, you know, just going crazy. She ended up having bronchitis, you know, and I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus, you know, but at that time, and it just made me see, okay, you know, what we call when we were growing up, you sit at the kid table and there's an adult table. So I was like, all right, so we have to shield them from some of my psychosis, because I'm a crazy mom, you know, I'll admit that, you know, I go crazy.
She is.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that we really try and get couples, a lot of our peers, everybody, and you see some of it happening on social media, you know, so what are you going to take from this time? There are lessons learned, like you talked about, both of you talked about things that we're learning now that we can actually take with us, you know, post-pandemic. So what are some of those positive things? What are some lessons learned that you think are valuable, that had this pandemic not come up, that we wouldn't have learned, something that you think is a nugget, something valuable that you can continue to move forward with when this is all said and done?
Well, the first thing that pops to mind is, as I watch, I'm wondering, the U.S. is ready to open, and because of money, right? And I'm thinking, okay, so this country cannot run for 3 months without people working. And then I thought about the business owners, and I know it's tough being a small business owner, and everything you do is, whether you have a good month or a bad month. But I started to think, everybody should be seeing Ramsey or Susie on it, because we cannot survive without working for 3 to 6 months. Then we're all in trouble. So the first thing that comes to mind is preparing my family financially, and I think we were halfway there. We're fine. If we didn't have to work for 3 months, I think we'd be fine. But at the same time, it's like, what if this extends to 6 months? What's our backup plan from there? What changes do we have to make? And just being prepared. You saw everybody running out to get all these things. Our financial advisor told us, get 6 cases of water, always have that. Put that in the back of the pantry. Rotate it out every 6 months or a year. Always have a stash of cash that you need. Some things I think people will take from this and say, I need to be more prepared. And some people didn't have their life planning. They didn't have what we just do,
we did our advance
directive. Some people didn't have those things done. I think people will go out
and our will
done and have those things put in place, so that if something does happen, your kids will be taken care of, or your whatever your finances and your home, your businesses, everything will be taken care of. So the first thing that comes to mind when you say taken away from that is more me talking to a lot of my friends and family members saying, hey, now that this is over and we've made it through, we're on the other side, let's try and get these things in order.
It's going to be interesting. So what about you, Aisha?
So for me, I think it's kind of along the same lines. We did our trust, and so that was huge because we're both in healthcare. And I thought, well, if we both get sick or heaven forbid something happens to us, like, we need to make sure that our kids are okay. And I was thankful that we did that ahead of time, because we both have very real possibilities of being exposed, not just in the general public, but just at work. But I think for me, it really showed me all the things that I can do without, and all the distractions that happen in marriages and relationships when we're not on pause, and how you can see the divide start happening and you don't even realize it's there until you're forced to be in the house and you realize, oh my gosh, like, I haven't even looked at him today. I haven't said hi, or, we haven't even spoke. Like, we went through our day back and forth and never even said hi. And so I think it just allowed me to see all the things that we don't need, and also I see how relationships can be divided with daily life distractions, and how it's really important that you pay attention to those things and you're checking in with your relationship every day.
That's huge. That is huge.
That is huge.
So how do you decompress? Everybody's under the roof, coming together. You both are essential workers, regardless of how much time you're spending there. It might be 3 days versus 5, or what have you. It might be a reduced schedule. So what about those moments when you do get home? Are you reading a book? How do you is there anything that you picked up to help you kind of just have that woosah moment?
For me, my wife she probably thinks I'm crazy, but I think the other night I did an 18-hour case. Well, I was on call, so we were there from 8 until about 2, almost 2 in the morning. And when I got home, do the routine of, getting undressed and doing all that. But I have to sit down and relax a little bit, lower the shoulders. And if I can read my Bible a little bit and just feel a little more comfortable, like, she'll tell me, turn off the light. And I'm like, it's not the light, it's the phone light. Like, I just want to read a little bit, just a little bit, just put me at ease. But besides that, just coming home and doing my routine. I like to cook. I probably do 80% of the cooking for our family. So coming home and making sure that I prepare a meal that makes the kids happy, makes them smile, taste good. You know, they compliment the chef. You know, for me, it's about, yes, for me, like you know, as you realize, it's about service. You know, you want to, and who not, you know, better to serve than my family. So for me to decompress, unless I'm really exhausted and I just lay down on the couch and put the head back and you start to hear the noise come out. If I'm really tired, that happens. But other than that, just to come home and relax with my family is more than enough of to decompress. I don't have any super secrets of, you know, I need to have my foot rubbed. It would be nice.
We might be able to arrange that.
Yeah, I don't have any. I'm, you know, I mean, I'm really simple.
He's a very simple guy.
I'm simple, and I like routine. And if it's out of routine, I'm really flexible. So, you know, I have really low standards. So when something happens or I get excited about something, it's really like I had a Harley. That is like so exciting to me. Like getting on that and going out, that is like, if you want to see me excited, that is one of the most exciting things that will happen. If I can just flip on a bike and ride, oh man. That's what I would do. And I told her that. I said, this is during these times when nobody's on the road. I said, if I had my bike, this would be like awesome time to ride. I would be out there like, wow, I would have, I don't do all the windy roads and doing that. I just want to take it here, go out to Lodi, or I'll go to Folsom, just give me a straight shot, a 30-minute ride. I'll get off, have a cup of coffee, come back home. I'm done.
Well, as a doctor, he needs to pick another hobby. That's a no-go.
Right. I hear you.
We're going to find another hobby for him. We're still working on it, so if you guys have any suggestions, let me know so we can introduce Derrick to another hobby.
It'll never go away.
PS4. Get a PS4. Get him a game so it can be virtual.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get him a VR. Get him that virtual reality, something along those lines.
I told my wife, I said, you know what? There's something about having that bike between my legs, and it's doing whatever I wanted to do. If I wanted to slow down, if I wanted to go fast, I've got my speakers on there. There's something about being in control and having that, you know, freedom, and it feels amazing.
I would have never guessed that for you.
Oh man, I mean, my dad grew up. I grew up. My dad had motorcycles since I was born, so I grew up riding a 1975 or 78 Honda 750 when I was like 8 years old. So a big bike, and then I moved on to Ninjas, and see, I don't even do Ninjas anymore. I don't do the cross rockets.
Well, that's for a whole nother podcast. There's a reason behind that. Okay, let's just not even go there about why you don't have to do that anymore.
So okay, so what is your?
We can show you the scars of why he doesn't do that anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I was doing tricks, and I learned when I was 19 that I needed to relax.
Yeah.
He's one of them biker boys.
Yeah, I'm mature.
How do you decompress, Aisha?
So for me, I think Derrick really recognizes that when I come home, I need some downtime. So he really allows me to retreat for a minute. I have like a routine. I need to like shower. I need to wash my face. I need to kind of unwind before I come in and get mauled by the kids. So he really allows me to do that. He tries to protect that time for me, which I really appreciate, because even it's important for me. And even though some people don't need it, like I needed to kind of unwind and shift gears from doctor to mom and to wife. And so he really protects that time for me. And so I really appreciate it. But also a part of my businesses, we do a lot of self-development, a lot of mindset training. So I'm really into some different audio books right now, and that's been really good. And just really trying to spend time just getting my mind right before I engage him or the kids. And also I exercise. And so I really am protective about my workouts, and because I really feel like it helps me lower my stress, stay in shape. And so I exercise. I've had to shift from, doing it at the gym to home, but that's really important to me. And so he really tries to protect that time that I work out.
So give me a book. I'm a personal development junkie. I mean, if you look at my library, that's it. Everyone else reads a lot of fiction, and they're like, oh, give me a book. Oh, Mindset or I'll just start naming off books. I'll read some Odd Mandino. They're like, oh, I want to read that. I'm like, that's good stuff. So what would you recommend right now? What's hot?
I think right now, I have two, for depending on where you are in your life and what you're trying to change. The first one I would recommend is The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins.
Yep.
That's a good one. And the next one is You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. She has two. You're a Badass, and then You're a Badass at Making Money. So she has two. And those are really good because it just really allows you to understand why you are the way you are and how to break that away to be who you want to be.
It's interesting you say that. That's twice today. I had a client earlier this morning. We got on I do deep dives for some individuals, and this is our second session. And we had a nice discussion today about the 5-second rule. So that's twice today that's actually come up. That's interesting.
Yeah, we're trying to get Derrick into the 5-second rule.
Just jump, man. Don't do that. Do not teach him that, because he'll be at a Harley shop and he'll be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll buy it.
I just need him to do it for laundry.
I gotta know what the 5-second rule is so I can use it. If it's going in there to buy a car, then I do it. I'm like, if you're not selling me this car for my price, I'm walking out. And then I walk out.
No,
But then she calls me back like, no, that's the one I want. I'm like, no, you had a chance. So is that the 5-second rule? Or is that the reverse 5-second rule?
It pertains more to household duties.
Oh, okay.
More like,
Okay, so
more like chores.
So I am great at taking care of my children, number one.
And your wife.
And I am great,
your
and my wife, and I am great at cooking.
Yes.
I am great at those things. But I do not like to clean up my kitchen after I cook.
He sucks.
It's true. I won't die. But the food.
I mean, it's to the point where I'm like, whose fingerprint, like, how did a fingerprint get way at the top? And then the kids go, Mommy, don't let him cook because he finds pots that we never even knew were there. Like, Derrick will cook with every utensil and pot. I'm like, how did you even know we had that? Like, he's like, oh, I mean, everything.
I like kitchen gadgets. So if I can find something that makes what I'm doing a little easier and more fun, I'll buy it, I'll use it. But I don't want it to be a clutter thing. It has to fit. But I like to, if I can have a stove that has 8, I would do 8, because 4 is like not enough. I have 5 now, but if I had 8, then I can have everything going at the same time, and the sauce will be hot, the pasta will be perfect, like everything.
But the person coming behind him,
I need a sous chef.
Yeah, it's a disaster, but it's good. But
Yeah, like I'll make my own. I mean, just
okay. All right.
Avocado in the blender.
That is funny.
Very creative. I throw avocado in the blender and put some
whatever.
Some other stuff in there with it. Some onions and some cilantro and some pesto, and I got a sauce.
Okay.
You're more than we can social. I'll put my mask on. We can social distance. You come over, prepare something. We'll go outside and wait.
Come by and sit in the backyard, and we can just be like 12, 15 feet apart.
We'll push it out the door. We'll just push it out the door.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. So
But the other wind down, though, I thought about when you guys are talking, the wind down that allows me when I'm coming home from work is my real wind down. My 30-minute commute home. That's my wind down. Because in the morning I might call you at 6:30 or 7 in the morning, but my wind down is coming home, and I might put on a podcast. I'll listen to you. I'll listen to Mel's perspective. Those things they help me just to wind down before I come through the front door.
So I'm going to tread dangerous territory right now. We've talked about all the positives. You only get one. What is the one family-friendly pet peeve that you have
Family friendly.
of each other?
Of each other?
Safe to say, yes.
Oh.
Should I go first?
Yeah, go first.
Derrick is a disaster. He's very unorganized. He has no organization skills. It's like a tornado that just ruins everything. His stuff is everywhere all the time. And I'm very, like, I need everything in its place and I need no clutter. It really, like, makes me anxious. And so that is a huge beef for us. Like, a huge beef. Like, so much so that I almost want my bedroom.
Mm. Okay.
No. It's a huge beef for us. Like, I've almost bagged up everything he owns twice.
Have I gotten better though?
No,
In the last year though, have I gotten better in the last year?
you've gotten better since the pandemic, and I'll tell you why.
No, Billy, I've cleaned my closet twice
Partially.
because I only have 25% of it.
Oh,
No, since the pandemic, he's been better because we've had a lot of downtime, but it takes prompting. It takes me going from, hey, can you do that, to, if you don't, we'll keep it PG, do that right now, I'm going to snap.
Okay, so in all honesty, I accept that. It's true. It's 100% true. I have some ADHD. I'm like all over the place. Like I'll think something and I'll write a note and that note will be over there. I've gotten better because I've learned not to write the notes. I have a notebook now. I don't have a notebook.
Ask him where the notebook is, though.
I have two. I have one that stays upstairs in the office and I have one that's downstairs. So I don't have to run all over the place. But when that thought hits, I need to put it down because it's going to start flowing, right? When you start hearing, you start flowing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I'll give you that.
And the other thing is I have my phone. So I have my notes section in my phone is like enormous. And some things that I've sent to you. So that is like huge for me. So I accept that. It gets bad and I do need prompting for it. So the reason why that I'm organized sometimes because I have a lot on my plate. I'm doing the bills. I do all the cooking, probably 90%. I do 100% of the shopping for groceries. I do all
the grocery store.
I love the grocery store. I put my AirPods in and I'm gone and it's a wonderful, peaceful place. So and I organize the kids' schedule. So the kids, all the practices and the things they need, travels, I do all that. I organize our travel. If we're going out of town, even if we're going to the Bay Area just for the day, she's like, I just want to stay in a nice place. Okay, babe, you got it. We'll do that. So I have a lot that's like.
Dude, I'm just asking you to pick your clothes up off the floor. That is like simple. I'm not saying like organize the closet. Just like pick your.
So my excuse, like when she hears something in the middle of the night, she's like, what is that? I can't get up naked. I can't just like go out. I gotta have some like right there to like put on and like go downstairs.
Right? That's real talk.
Real talk. Like, okay, so if the robber is like right there and he's looking at me, I'm like, he's gonna start laughing. Like, I gotta be ready for him.
Okay, but what about the other stuff though? Are you gonna put all that stuff on?
Yeah, pants, shoes, socks,
and then
shirt,
the stuff
hat,
from
keys,
the stuff from last week?
receipts. I need to put in my pocket. I might need to show him something.
You never know. You might be out there handling business, right? Handling. And they'd be like, you know what? I need to take this. I need to go return this one item while the police are going to take a minute to get here. So
you're right. That's what it is.
And I got the notes that I might have to show him. Like, listen, I thought of this last night.
So that's my big pet peeve.
Yeah,
and it has not changed. And the one thing his mom said was, you saw his room before you married him? And she is not lying. She's telling the truth. Every bit of the truth. And you know what? That's one thing I would tell married couples is check out his room, girl, because let me tell you, that's not going to change.
But what she's saying is that's not right, because then she might run away, but then she won't get all this stuff.
right.
So don't listen to that, because you won't get good stuff, and you gotta take a little good with the bad.
Don't try and focus on my blind spot.
Yeah, compromise. You gotta compromise.
Okay, well, what's your pet peeve?
Let me count. No, I'm simple. I'm easygoing. So for me, my wife is a now person in a sense that if I say, well, what about this, babe? We're gonna run into that down the line. So we need to worry about this future part. She's a now person. So she thinks about what's going on today and right now, and she wants to live that. And it's great to live that, but I'm like, babe, we're going to run into that. So that part is like, oh, you love right now.
Because tomorrow isn't promised.
So she's tactical and you're more strategic.
Yes, I am very strategic. I will like say, listen, this is what we need to do, and maybe a year later she'll say, yeah, this is probably what we need to do, and I'm like, yeah, that's what we should.
But what if next year never came?
Hey, I got the word that we're gonna move forward in this thing. We're gonna be around for a while.
I'm just saying, it might not come, and then you have to live your life for today.
Yeah, so like we're cleaning. I told you we had this moth problem.
Oh.
So we're cleaning out this pantry, and I'm like setting this up. It's like 12 o'clock, and I'm like, babe, I know you want to cook this nice dinner tonight, right? I get it, but we got the podcast later today at 5. So I know you need at least an hour to just down and relax before we start. So that means that you need to start cooking at 2 if we're gonna meet later. So, okay, here we go. She gets into this moth cleaning, and I'm like, babe, we probably gotta put off the rest of this. No, we need to do it now. We need to keep, but we got this later, and I know you're gonna be stressed about getting ready. No, we gotta finish. So not only did we not finish, we were rushing at the end. So that is like, babe, I'm trying to help you so you're not stressed and then I'm not stressed, and then we can get through this and come back and finish the job. So that's part of the, like, we got to prepare for the later, but she's living in the now.
I have big dreams and big goals, right? I feel like we can get it all done and like wrap it up with a bow.
That's doctor talk. Like if I have a meeting at 1 o'clock, I'll be there about 1:45, and we still on time. That's doctor talk.
Shots fired.
No, but she's punctual, but the reality is that she does try and fit a weekend into 12 hours. She's very ambitious that way.
I am. See, I'm ambitious.
She's ambitious that way. And I'm very practical fan in the sense that I say, babe, we're not going to be able to make it to LA, drive to LA, drive back, and still have dinner. And she's like, yeah, we're gonna try and make it happen.
And we might actually make it to LA and back.
Yeah,
for
12
dinner.
hours is not going to fit in. A weekend is not going to fit into 12 hours. Not going to happen.
It might. You never know.
Never know.
That's funny. Some of that we lost because I don't know if it's my computer or my Wi-Fi connection or yours.
It might be ours.
We both got teenagers in this house, and for whatever reason, they feel a need to stream on the TV, then have their phone right there. So we should only be 2 things streaming, maybe. We got like 8. We got like 8 things eating up all the bandwidth.
That's not bad. 8 is not bad. We got the PS4. We have 2 TVs streaming, 2 kids on their phone streaming. She got the workout app that's probably plugged in and still grabbing some stuff. The cleaner is grabbing some stuff.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
I look at the Comcast, I'm like, okay, that looks like 12 things are running at the same time.
Right. So let me ask you, what workout app are you using?
So me, I'm in love with the Peloton app. It has free 90 days, and let me tell you, it is fire. So much so that I don't think I'm going back to the gym. Number one, because I'm pretty grossed out right now about the gym and this whole pandemic. I think I might get a Peloton treadmill and just call it a day.
Okay, so have you done any of Chase's runs?
Yes, Chase is my boy. So Chase, let me tell you who. I'm just going to tell you really quick who you need to, because these are my people, right?
She's
I'm going to tell you.
They're best friends now.
I have 3 best friends, 3 trainers who are like my faves, and I'm going to tell you who they are right now because you have got to do their workouts. Super good. Chase is awesome. And who do you follow? Tell me. Who do you?
Chase is the main one, and then there's another person that actually I don't know if I still have her on my phone. There was another run that I did. It was one of the high intensity, one of the hit runs.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a female, and I can't think of her name, but it was one where it's a 30-minute run where it was the first time they've ever done this. I've never seen this on a treadmill before, where she was like, okay, now turn it off. And then it was the thing where you had to have that free form where she got it to where you had to push it. And it was a hip hop run. So it was like basically turn it off. So the belt wasn't running, but you were using it. So she kind of mixed in a workout, like a lower body workout with it. And so you did that for a while. She was like, okay, now she was giving levels. She was like, okay, push it, get it up to, because the meter still runs. So get it up to like a 7. I was like, what? So I'm going and I'm pushing the thing. So she's like, okay, now slow down to a 4. And I'm like, oh, like, okay, but this is all you doing it. She's like, okay, now get up on the rail. Now turn it back on. Now let's get into a run. I've never seen anybody do that. At that moment, Peloton had me.
Right. So do you actually have a tread bike?
No, I just
Okay.
use the app.
You use the app, right? So that's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to get him, but my favorite is Chase, Robin Arzon, and Jess Sims. Those 3. So Jess Sims, Robin Arzon, Arzon, and Chase Tucker. Those are my people. And I love their strength workouts. Their strength workouts are no joke. They're 20 minutes. You think, oh, 20-minute strength workout? No, it is no joke. So I'll usually do a 20-minute strength, and then I'll do I'll do the boot camp and use my elliptical, or I will use, I'll do like a run or something. But their meditation and yoga is also amazing.
So we've only done the yoga and the runs for me right now, and stretching. I'll do a lot of their
Oh,
stretches.
the stretching. But try the meditation. I will usually start my day with like a 5 or 10 minute. And I even had the kids when the pandemic first broke out and they were really just worked up. We would do like a 10-minute meditation with yoga from the Peloton app.
Really? Okay, so now you got me wondering.
Yeah, I saw the meditation, and I was gonna do it, but I thought, oh, I probably need to work out. So I did the yoga, and I let me see, we've done yoga kind of before the P90X. It was so many years ago, but I was in so much better shape. And I was okay, Rana, you got to do something. So I started doing yoga, and I was like, babe, I did yoga. I'm in there. I know what I'm doing, So I like the yoga. The yoga is good.
I'm usually in my workout with one of their meditations. Like when I'm all done my workout, I'll do a 5 or 10 minute meditation before I come out the room.
That's smart. The run I was thinking of, it's a 30-minute hip hop run with Rebecca Kennedy.
Oh, Rebecca, yes. I would say she's 4 on my list. Yes, I have done a few of her workouts, but I'll have to check that one out tomorrow.
Yeah, that was a good one. So hey, we want to thank both of you for first off, this podcast was not brought to you by Peloton, but if they feel like actually diving in,
Peloton, you can.
right. But no, I want to thank both of you for taking time out of your busy schedules and, staying at home, the kids, the dogs, everything that's going on, to spend some time with us. You were truly a couple that is married into crazy. I'm not going to tell you who I think married into crazy. Actually, you know what? I am. I've never done this before. I'm going to call you out, Derrick. Since 7th grade.
I married her. I was crazy, huh?
No, she was crazy.
I tried to flip it, man.
No, you know what?
No. That's your new nickname. I'll be like, what's up, 7th grade?
Yeah.
No, it was a blessing to actually spend time with you, to fellowship with you. We are truly thankful. And we end every single one of our episodes with the I Can. So we have a couple's I Can. We pull one for the fellas, one for the ladies. And this, we hope, can be your focus for the week.
Okay.
It'll be both of ours.
What about my feet?
That's not in the can.
That's not in there. Says, I can keep my promises.
I can keep my promises. That's for her?
That's for her.
Yes.
Oh.
I can keep my promises.
And so mine says, I can express my appreciation to my partner.
I can express my appreciation to my partner.
High 5.
Promise.
All right.
He's like, done. I just did it. I just fulfilled my promise. All right. Hey, again, we thank you so much. And of course, as always, until the next time, be blessed.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank
you. Bye.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
you know, relational. I still have our I can. And I remember the days where yes, I still have mine. I remember the days where Monte and I both would draw from that and try to speak into one another, being guided by the different affirmations and activities in the can. So likewise, kindred spirit, that's why we're family. Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
And I love the platform.
Yeah, I thank y'all too, you know, just modeling what Black love looks like, not just on camera, but off of camera too. So thank y'all so much for y'all putting yourselves out there for the world to see, being vulnerable and candid. Thank y'all for just reinforcing what Black love and Black family should look like. So thank y'all.
We can't wait to have you on our show.
Ooh, I can't wait to be there.
and for full disclosure, I just have to tell everybody that's still listening that Monte, when I first came up with the idea to do a podcast, Monte sat right here in my office and kind of broke down what I needed to do in order to even get started. When I was buying equipment, I was reaching out to him like, okay, what do I need to buy next? Okay, so what do I do? And we didn't even get into it. Monte's got a storied history when it comes to being a DJ and working with some pretty established celebrities out there within the gospel ranks and gospel rap specifically. But there would be no Married into Crazy podcast if there was no Monte.
And to speak to that too, Monte has he's always been a cheerleader for us. I remember when we had our Iron Tribe dinner and he was sitting in there. He was like, so when we gonna be interviewed? I remember that. I was like, he don't even know. He may be joking, but you guys were already on the list. You know, you guys were already on the list. When I talk about you, when I think about you, I'm just like, you guys are amazing to me. And when people hear your story, you know, a lot of times people, you don't want to deal with someone else's child. Monte, you deal with someone's kids all day, you know, and then you come home and you have another tribe and you embrace them and you brought them in and you showed them love. And I saw the pictures when you guys went on your on the trip to the colleges. It's like they were treated exactly the same way that Jay was treated, that with Trey and Maya. I mean, you made no difference in any of that, the relationship. It's like, I don't care how you got here, you're here now, so that means you're part of us. And not everyone can speak to that. Not everyone can say that that's exactly what they do, but that's what you all do. And it's just so refreshing. And I honestly think it's really beautiful. It really is.
And I just got to say too that's a huge leap from, okay, so how you related to him to okay, you know what?
That's
my
right.
doors are
Bring
open.
it in.
Come on, baby. Let me love you. Come on. We got room for you, baby. Come on. That's it. He's come a long way.
Yeah, God is good.
God is good. And I want to say something. Monte and I have never been fond of drinking or social drinking or any of that. Every once in a while we would have a little bedroom sip, but never in the public or in a setting with other couples. So that night I remember we had lamb. I don't like lamb. He don't like lamb. That was some of the best tasting lamb. You started on the grill. It went into the oven. I remember that night. And y'all brought out all kinds of wine. And we fell in love with the blue bottle. We take the blue bottle with us, the Moscato, Asante. What was it?
Asante de Moscato.
Yeah. Oh, the blue bottle was. We got a whole bunch of them in the closet, empty bottles that we be hiding from the kids.
Well, now you just exposed everybody else.
I don't care. We supposed to be transparent. We trying to reach and help somebody else.
It's called being authentic. You can't be transparent. You gotta be authentic now.
See, that's the difference, right? You see there? There it is there. That's the difference.
Funny.
But we're going to close out with the same way that we always do our podcast, and that's with the couple's I Can. And so we're going to read 4. Actually, we're going to read 2. We're going to read 2. One for the fellas and one for the ladies that we will focus on this week.
Okay. I'll go first. This is for the ladies. I can run the errands. Okay.
All right, so that's for you, Erica.
Oh, okay.
That was a plural, right? Errands, S, right?
More than one.
It is a plural.
Yeah. But 2 is, running to the mailbox is an errand, and then running upstairs for whatever or somewhere in the other room, that's an errand also. So
I don't know how fair this one is, but it says, I can take my partner on a date.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Hey.
There you go. There you go.
you
Now
do
you
that,
have to put it on the calendar.
But it's got to
Yeah.
be COVID approved.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
There's your signature for your show topic.
All right. Amen. Amen. Thank you once again. And like we always say, thank you and be blessed.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.